I feel you, man. It was a good game, and I thought it was underappreciated. And if they brought something back, I think that would be a really good one to bring back.
And I'm really surprised they didn't continue the series because it was an Xbox Xbox 360 only game.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm really surprised they didn't even try to do something.
All right, so let's get into some games that we know are coming out. And so one of the ones that me, Mike, and Venom caught when we were at PAX is this game that I'm really interested in, Fuser. So I saw some video for it, and it was a lot more in depth than what we got hands-on with when we were at PAX. Not only could they put the 4 records on, but now they could preload records, so it would be like B-sides of the vinyls that they were placing. So at a certain time, all the records would flip to make a new song right off the jump. And they also added in to where you could build your own tunes with instruments. So I saw them use a horn of some sort and a drum, and they were actually making their own beats and then putting it in with the music that they were creating from the records that they were using. Now, I thought that was really interesting because they brought in a new level of depth than what I was expecting them to do. So that caught me by surprise, and it was a good surprise. Does anybody besides me have an opinion on Fuser? Because I'm excited to play Fuser. I know that my roommates, Tanisha and Chris, are interested in playing Fuser. So is anybody else really excited to see Fuser come out?
I am. I mean, I had a good time with it there at PAX. I was wanting to see more. I just haven't seen anything on it yet. I'll have to look more into it. But yeah, I'm definitely interested.
What about you, Wolf? Did you ever appreciate any of the old music games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band?
I was actually thinking of that when you were talking about it. We haven't not heard of a Rock Band or Guitar Hero game in a while. That might be something that creeps back up on us and we not even suspect it. Especially if you're talking about that Fuser game, maybe they'll highlight something into it that is related to.
Yeah, it's actually being made by Harmonix, the people that did Guitar Hero. So I played Rock Band and Guitar Hero, and they were interesting to me, especially for the music they had in them. But the game that I played and really enjoyed was DJ Hero. I liked it. I liked playing with the turntables and the music that they had in it. So Fuser is right up my alley for this. So I'm really excited to see that. But Mike, you had hands-on with it at PAX. What did you think about Fuser?
I mean, it was fun. It's not my style of game. I'm not really into the rhythm games like Guitar Hero. I never really played it very well. I think it's more or less because I actually learned how to play guitar. I had a lot more trouble playing with just keeping my hand in one spot. So I never really got into them too much. But I mean, for what it was definitely interesting. We'll see how it is. I mean, I'll probably give it another go when it comes out. I'll probably try it again. But most of the music that they have on there, other than a lot of the rock stuff, I'm not really into as much. So we'll like I said, we'll give it a shot when it gets out, but I'm not gonna put all my money into one basket.
Let's get on to another game. And everybody knows that it's going to be either talked about in July or August. A lot of people are leaning towards July, and it is now known as the worst kept secret in gaming, the new Fable game. The new Fable game, it has not been officially confirmed, but like I said, it is now known as the worst kept secret in gaming right now. They're saying that it's going to basically be a reboot of the series. What do we expect to see in the new Fable? If it's going to be a reboot, is it going to be like an all-new Albion? Is it going to be a separate timeline? Well, what are we thinking we're going to get out of this? And Wolf, you had made a mention of Fable earlier. Let's start with you. Tell me what you think we're going to get out of this new Fable game.
Anything to go off. I remember when they originally were doing the other Fable game, it was you had three new heroes, and then you as yourself. But you had another player that would play against you. You had that option where you could do that, and the player would try to mess with your run and all that, be the evildoer and stuff like that. I thought that was an interesting idea, but, the concept of it did flop later. If they went back to the original type of Fable, you had the 3 aspects, range, melee, and, magic. stuff like that. Went back to that same core concept. And with today's modern RPGing and everything else, it would probably be really cool. And how they kind of left with the last Fable game, you finally defeated the darkness once and for all from another land, but you still had a lot of the prefects from the previous ones. You still had the Dark Tower, you had Teresa, the Seer. It would be interesting if something like, in some of the lore, Teresa was trying to learn how to control the power of the tower. Maybe something went wrong and she reactivated and destroyed the world once again. And the world itself had to restart over. And it would be interesting to see something like that.
So, Venom, did you play any of the old Fable games at all?
I did not. That's just one game that didn't particularly appeal to me.
All right.
I will say it, Venom, though. The games are not very long. That was a one grievance I always had with the Fable games is I can sit down and 5 hours later I've beaten the game. It's really not a very long. They're never really long games, but I will definitely say pick them up. They are fantastic. Like they're very very great story based, fantastic games that to play. Especially if you got no one to play with, they're awesome.
That's the downside of gaming these days is you can beat a game in a day. I remember back in the day on the older consoles, man, it would take you weeks or even months to beat a fucking game.
Witcher 3.
But other than that, I'd sit there and I still have. I'm pretty sure I still have one of the Fables installed on my Xbox now. I think it's Fable, the original Fable. Yeah, I still have the original Fable Anniversary loaded on my Xbox. If it wasn't for the whole Assassin's Creed hype right now, and I'm just sitting here playing by myself, I'd probably be playing that because it's just one of those games. It just brings back fun nostalgia. Being able to choose if you're good or evil, and the repercussions change your actual appearance. That was a big game changer back then. If you were an absolute saint, you got all kind of you glowed a little bit. You had a halo over your head. If you were pure evil, you had giant freaking devil horns coming out your head, and it was just insane. That was the big thing with those, and I disliked how they took a lot of that out of the game itself. But I'm hoping with this new Fable game, it'll be amazing.
Okay, so I'm going to touch base on another game. I know that it's already got a release date. It's set for September. Can't remember which day in September, but it's I think it's one that most of the people here have had at least some kind of interaction with. Some of us probably went really hard on it, but I feel like I would be remiss if we didn't touch on this subject. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 being relaunched. To me, the Tony Hawk games, when they came out, were amazing. I spent way too much time on those games, just playing them and goofing off. Not even trying to beat the campaigns or whatever, just going through and just goofing off with my friends or trying to beat my own personal high score. I'm really happy to see that they're coming back. I really, really am. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 was great. It set the mold. 2 was awesome. 3 was really good, but after 3, I kind of think they fell off a little bit. But getting 1 and 2 back with updated graphics and online play, I am so friggin' thrilled about. So, does anybody have the same love of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games as me? And are you excited that they're coming back?
I did have some love for the old ones. I just don't know if they really fall into my alley these days.
Wolf, did you play them?
Oh gosh, I played all the crap out of them. I remember, one of the first, maps you would play was that the ice facility wherever it is. There's a blizzard going outside. You break through the glass. You come down into the giant skate ramp, and there's letters everywhere, and you had to do certain things. All this stuff. It was hilarious. It was fun. And I remember when they got farther in the series, you could start creating your own skate parks and everything else, and it was hilarious and funny. I remember we used to make a bunch of time trial kind of maps. You had to go start from the top and work your way all the way down to the bottom. And if you didn't make it do this one trick or one move at the bottom, you would fall into a pit of lava and die, and then you would have to start over again.
Mike, I know you've skateboarded in your life. I know that you were a gamer in the PlayStation 1 era. If you tell me that you didn't like the Tony Hawk games, I might be more than just a little disappointed in you.
You are already disappointed in me. Let's be honest.
That's true.
I mean, I played 1, I played 2. After that, I never really kept playing the Tony Hawk games. Be honest, I'm not too excited for the remakes. Ever since Skate came out, it related more to skateboarding than the Tony Hawk's games did. Like, don't get me wrong, Tony Hawk games were pure nostalgia. The games, you had all the different pros at the time. It was groundbreaking at its point. But now that you have these skate games out where you actually have to learn how to flick the joystick to do the tricks, like, I can't just hold A and release it and it pops an ollie and then hit left and X to do a kickflip. No, I actually have to sit there, control my one guy with my left joystick to actually do the tricks, pull down on the right joystick and flick it to the right, and that you'll do a kickflip. If I want to do anything more complicated, like a 360 flip or anything like that, or hard flips or anything like that, it brought a little bit more challenge, and that brought a little bit more relation to actual skateboarding. That's why I'm not too keen with the Tony Hawk games. I'm more excited to see where the new Skate game comes, especially now that they released it or they announced it. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna lean more towards that than the Tony Hawk games than anything. Maybe like if they gave me a little bit more news on how if they're gonna use the same type of control system or they're changing it up or stuff like that. So I mean, it's one of those things we'll see.
Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is going to be a launch title for the Series X. Is anybody excited for Hellblade 2?
Honestly, I know nothing about it.
See, yeah, I never played the first one. I've heard nothing but good things from people who have played it. As a matter of fact, I believe Keithy was streaming. I did not watch the stream, I'll be honest. I was doing something else at the time. So a lot of people rave about it, and the trailer that they showed off looked amazing. If that's what I can expect from Series X, then I am satisfied.
I've actually touched a little bit on Hellblade. It is actually a very good game. How they did it is you get a more graphical output, but less of a story to a point. The game itself was your experience of a woman. I forget her name. Don't quote me. I think her name was Sina. It was something with an S. Suina or whatever. Senua, yeah. It was her journey to hell to find her lost love. And she had to do the trials even to get into hell and all that. And you're following her battle to do this. But it's all more of a mind thing. It's all this is happening inside of her head. A lot of this. It's supposed to be talking about how depression and everything else that, would happen during those more Nordic and darker times and all that. And seeing that they're bringing out another one and all that, I would be very interested in playing it because I've touched a little bit on the demo.
I'm going to throw this out there. Everwild is another game coming out being developed by Rare, and part of me is like, it looks interesting. They're doing a new animation style, but not completely different than Sea of Thieves. It looks a lot more bright, a lot more vibrant. And there's not really a whole lot shown about it so far. And I want to see more of like a story behind it. Like, why is this game being made? What's the point of it? Does anybody else even have a passing interest in Everwild?
I thought Everwild when they first originally showed it, it was you're experiencing a journey between like as you went and walked through the world and all that. It almost reminded me of the PlayStation exclusive game. What was it called? Where you couldn't talk or speak to anyone, but it was always multiplayer open world. And as you traveled, you could see other people and only interact by doing these little bells or little charms that you could see people with. And you could experience this journey with you, with other people. I don't know if they're going to do something similar, but the interesting thought of it would be cool. But it's supposed to be, if I remember hearing, it's supposed to be your journey as a group in trying to live and survive through this world.
What about you, Venom? Did you see it? Are you interested in it? If you did,
No, I didn't see it.
Mr. Barbecue over there, since you're not sharing with the class, would you care to weigh in?
To be honest, I don't know what game you're talking about. I don't know anything about it.
How about this one? Now, I personally haven't had any experience with it. It did catch my attention, and it was on a timed beta. Like, you only got like a half an hour with it, and it's going into Game Pass as like a preview program type deal. So you can play the game in its current iteration as the team is developing it as they go. But Grounded, Chris has played it, and he played that little timed like 30 minutes that you could play with the game, and he says it was interesting. He said that he is looking forward to playing it, and he's going to be playing it on Game Pass whenever it launches later this month. I believe the release date for it to Game Pass is July 23rd, the day of the Xbox event. So I know a lot of people probably haven't seen it, but I know some people have. And the reason it caught my eye is because it is a survival-based game where you got to harvest resources so that you can build a shelter, build weapons, build tools, find food and water. But beyond that, it's a cross between a survival game and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, because you are literally playing as a kid who's been shrunk down and you're trying to survive in your own backyard.
Yep. I want to play it because that's just movie nostalgia. As long as Rick Moranis is looking for me the entire time, I'm going to be a happy bitch.
Oh man, if you find an Oreo and befriend an ant, that would be awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I feel you there. The nostalgia would kick in hard. But well, if you've played more survival titles than I have, I think. Is it a game that's on your radar as well?
It looks pretty cool. I mean, it reminds me of like a lot of the other survival games, especially like, Ark, then you have, Atlas, those kind of games that are on the consoles and also on the PC. It looks pretty interesting. Like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It'd be really cool, like you befriend an ant, and then I'm riding around on an ant and we're going around and stuff like that. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a mechanic in there where you befriend an ant or befriend a spider or some kind of thing, creature. Let me just go find the giant Oreos, and then we just need to find the milk, and then we'll be set.
All right, Jesse, I know you haven't played a whole lot of the survival titles, but I know that you watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids because we grew up together. Does this title, just off of what we said, spark your interest? Would you be willing to at least look at it and see if it's something that you would be willing to dedicate some time to?
Oh, I'm always willing to look at any game, man, unless it just doesn't pique my interest at all.
Right on. At least the four of us, I don't know about our whole gaming group, but at least the four of us have some level of interest in checking this game out as it's developed. So come the July 23rd, right after the Xbox event, we can all download it through Game Pass and we could all play together, hopefully. But I mean, from what I've seen of Chris playing it, it looks really interesting. He was using grass blades and twigs and things like that, and he was building himself a shelter, and he had like a little bitty pebble attached to a little bitty stick, and that was his hatchet. So I thought it was kind of cool.
Oh no, what is it? Instead of a pebble, it's called a dimple or something like that, because apparently a pebble is the size of an elephant to you, or something.
Yeah, so, something like that. It's a little bitty piece of stone, little bitty.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. I can imagine, like, we don't even know the scope of the map, too. It could be huge, or maybe it spans even multiple backyards or anything.
I mean, that's very true. From what I could tell, from perspective wise, there was a sprinkler in the backyard that Chris was playing around, and the sprinkler itself was about the equivalency. I'm just guessing here, but it was about equivalent as a 10 or 12 story building. That's the sprinkler.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're tiny.
Oh yeah, you're micro size. You're sitting there with ants. Like little baby ants. Those little guys are tiny, as it is. They're pathetically small. So you imagine your comparison right next to it. You're sitting there being as tiny as well.
Am I going to be able to get into the house and play in the Fruit Loops?
We don't know.
You are a Fruit Loop.
For all we know, there's a picnic table there. Maybe there'll be a giant thing of cake.
I'm gonna dub this the horror monster section of this roundtable. One game, I didn't play it in the original state. I had a friend that used to play the old games, but Vampire the Masquerade has caught my attention because I'm a big Castlevania fan, so vampires are kind of up my alley. I'm not talking like vampires from the Twilight Saga. Vampires are not supposed to sparkle. They're not supposed to be makeup wearing little bitches. They're supposed to be dark. They're supposed to be evil. There's supposed to be some bloodletting in there. Okay? That's just me. Somebody's going to disagree with me. I know they are. But Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 takes place in Seattle. And there's supposed to be these 3 different paths that you're supposed to be able to venture down that's going to dictate your powers. One of them was like you could turn into mist, and that was down one path. And then down another path, you could turn into a bat or summon a swarm of bats. One path had the ability to use telekinesis, so you could pick things up with your mind from across the room, things of that nature. I thought it was really interesting because I lived in Seattle for a brief period of time, and I loved the environment, and it looks to me like they really did the environment justice. I don't know if it's an exact 1-to-1 scale, something like, say, out of the Division. They did a really good, mock-up of Washington, D.C., so I don't know if it's to that scale, to that accuracy, but I like how they set it in that because, like, there's only 3 months out of the year in Seattle where the sun shines consistently. The rest of the time, it's cloudy and rainy a lot. So I think it kind of fits the vampire motif. And there's a lot of the area up there that is very historic, and you can kind of see back in time when you look at some of the buildings and the areas. So I think it fits. But I'm intrigued because it's supposed to be an RPG in a sense, and it's supposed to be a narrative-based story in a sense, but it's not completely devoid of action sequences. You're going to get into combat. You're going to fight other vampires. You're going to fight human beings. You're going to fight these. I don't know what they were calling them, but they were kind of like a mutant of sorts because this guy didn't look like a vampire and he didn't look like a human. But I'm interested in Vampire the Masquerade 2 Bloodlines. Is anybody else got this game on their radar right now besides me?
No.
What about you, Wolf?
I mean, it's interesting and all that. Like, yeah, I like the, vampires and werewolves, scenario. But this one, I know it's supposed to be all, like, vampires and everything. It looks interesting. I'll give it that. I mean, I might watch a video or two on it when it comes out, or maybe they'll give some more in-depth on it. Maybe when I get a little bit more of a thing for it, it'd be a lot better. Maybe we'll see part of it in the reveal for, on the Xbox coming out, who knows?
I'm hoping we do, since that's going to be a big deal for Microsoft to be doing this July event. So, Mike, what about you? Vampire the Masquerade, yay or nay?
So, I actually did not know anything about the game for a while. And actually, shout out to my coworker, Kyle. He's the one who actually told me and was showing me videos on it. And holy crap, it looks badass. I will full say that. Is it going to be something? Once again, it's probably not going to be one that I'm going to pick up all of a sudden and play. But maybe eventually. It does look pretty interesting. I mean, just half the crap you can do in it. It's, if you don't know and you're getting swayed by it, you don't know, just look up the trailer for the thing. Holy crap. It's freaking brutal.
I think we've covered that one pretty good. Not a lot of people have a lot of info on it, and so I'm assuming this next one is going to have even less information on it. But Werewolf the Apocolypse. So, from what I'm gathering, is that you're in this werewolf pack, and you're basically thrown out of whack because nature is being ruined by humanity or demons who are masquerading as humans. And so you have access to these werewolf powers, and you become the alpha of the pack. And so you can use other wolves or werewolves in your ability to take down this corporation that's basically pumping pollution into the Earth's environment. And just the way that the trailers have come off has my interest peaked. It looks like it's kind of like one of those think of any action game that has light RPG elements. As you play through it, you unlock new abilities, things like that. So it's that kind of game. But I was really happy, being a heavy metal fan, that in the last trailer they did a song from Alien Weaponry in it, and it was probably their most notable song. And I'm not even going to attempt to say the title of the song because it's in the Maori language and I would just butcher it. But it's a heavy metal trailer because of Alien Weaponry being on it and the sheer viciousness of the trailer because of how the werewolf is just ripping people apart. Has anybody else seen this, and are they interested in taking a further look at it?
We'll see. Whoa, what about you?
I actually, when I first saw the trailer, I thought it was quite interesting. It kind of, when you originally see the trailer, you pan everything in black and white, how it's supposed to represent. It's kind of a weird kind of montage, how it shows from normal transition to this other perspective. So as we see at the beginning of the, you see a forest and you see construction, people tearing down woods, and it pans to a power plant. It looks like, I'm assuming, or some kind of mill, and everything's in black and white, and no one really understands what's going on until you get to the point where you get to the aspect of when you are looking through the wolves and what is going on with Mother Nature. So how the wolves and the representation, like, they see these huge, construction vehicles. They see them as monsters and just, demons or anything that are coming to destroy their home and their place. For some whatever reason, you are chosen and you are a werewolf and all that. If you watch in the trailer, the guy looks like he killed someone at the beginning. Like, he didn't like the order that he was given, and he disobeyed that order. And so in a sense, he is now on the side of Mother Nature itself, and because of that, they blessed him with this gift of becoming a werewolf to continue his journey. And it's really interesting, and it looks pretty cool. And even some of the gameplay that they were showing looks crazy.
All right, Venom. I know that you have seen plenty of werewolf material in your time. We grew up together watching movies like Silver Bullet and American Werewolf in London. Does this game, from what you've heard, pique your interest? Are you interested in seeing some trailers at the very least to see if it's going to be something that you have an interest in?
Yeah, I would like to see something like that because I remember playing Altered Beast on Sega Genesis back in the day.
Ooh, nice callback. I actually have Altered Beast downloaded on my Xbox One right now from the old arcade days.
It was a good game.
Here's another game, and it's still fitting into the same horror motif. And I don't know a whole lot about it because they just showed like a really quick story trailer, and it piqued my interest. One, for the story, and two, for the art style that they showed it off in. It's called Rogue Lords. So apparently you play a vampire lord, and you have other underlings, and all your underlings were wiped out, and you were sent back to hell. And you've been collecting souls for an unspecified amount of time, but now you're coming back, and you're going to re-raise your army of the undead to take your place back in the world. And the reason it stood out for me is, as you can see, you were a vampire lord, and you were cast back to hell, and now you're biding your time, and then you come back. It sounds kind of like a new play on the old Dracula mythos from Castlevania. So I would strongly recommend anybody that doesn't know anything about Rogue Lords to go check it out. If you're into like the whole horror movie genre from the old days, and some of the horror games playing as like a vampire killer, or even like Altered Beast that was already mentioned, where you were playing some sort of werebeast. Has anybody else besides me seen anything on Rogue Lords?
Well, I'm actually watching a reveal trailer right now. It looks kind of like a Final Fantasy /
turn-based kind of thing.
We are Happy Few kind of mix.
Yeah, it looks like it's supposed to be a dark narrative, but like the color palette that they used it's overwhelmingly dark, but it has like flashes of like pink and neon green and a little bit of blue and some purple in there. So the art style really, really caught my attention.
I do kind of like it, like the visuals on it.
It almost reminded me of Bannerlord when that first came out. You remember that? But the combat's is a lot different from it, though. It's more like Final Fantasy turn-based. Yeah.
So that one kind of caught my eye, and it's something that's going to be on my radar till I hear a little bit more about it. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit more detail either in the July or August event. So, Mike, have you seen anything about it? Does what we've said here so far kind of pique your interest?
Haven't seen anything. Piqued it. We'll see. Barbecue delicious.
Barbecue is delicious. Man, maybe that's what we need to do. We just need to be an independent game developer, and it could be homemade barbecue, and we could just be making barbecue to see if it passes Mike's taste test. That could be our independent game right there. It's $1 million idea. Somebody get right on it.
Barbecue Simulator 2021. You got to make sure you have the right kind of spices and maybe different types of wood will give a different quality of your food for the barbecue that you use.
Yes.
The only way I'm gonna be like 100% down with it though is if we like throw in some kind of like mechanic that plays like root beer tapper.
Yeah,
Man, we could even throw since it's independently developed. Man, we could throw a little nod to Wolf's Family's restaurant.
Oh gosh.
Pappies.
Yeah, Pappy's too. Sure, they'd love some free publicity. Not that they need it.
Right.
they really need it.
It really don't.
Dude,
All
there's
right.
people that come from all over the country and even out of country to come to Pappy's just to eat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
plenty of times when you can pull in their parking lot. You're gonna obviously see Missouri license plates, but when you pull in and you see like Illinois, New York, Florida,
Hawaii.
Arizona, yeah, you're
Oh.
seeing all kinds of stuff in that parking lot. You're just like, damn, this place is
I
well
mean,
known.
I mean, we had a couple folks when I started working. I had a couple come in from Germany and all that, and they knew about us, and they had like a pamphlet of like 100 places to stop when visiting America.
That's actually really cool, Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get in to the big one. And if we had a roundtable talking about Xbox and we didn't bring this up, we would have to hang up our gamer credit. Okay, no more gamer cards. You're no longer a gamer if we're talking Xbox and we don't talk about this one. I'm pretty sure everybody already knows what I'm about to bring up. Halo?
Halo.
Yes, Halo Infinite.
Dun, dun, dun,
So let's talk about some of the rumors going into this topic, and we'll kind of go into more of the concrete information, what little there is to say. There was a rumor early on that Halo Infinite was going to have a battle royale mode. I'll throw my opinion out there first, and whoever wants to jump in right behind me, go right ahead and do it. Halo Infinite doing a battle royale mode, to me, is a bad idea. There are games that are specifically tailored for battle royales. You have PUBG that put battle royales on everybody's, notice. Everybody knew about battle royales because of PUBG. You can't argue that fact. There was probably a niche market that knew about battle royale style games before, but PUBG is what made battle royales popular.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had games like Apex, and you had Fortnite, and now you got Call of Duty Warzone out. I think that Halo needs to stay away from Battle Royale altogether. I think it's a bad idea to get into the Battle Royale market right now. We have a new one that's coming out from Ubisoft called Hyperscape, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun and all that. I don't hate Battle Royales, but I don't want Halo to do a Battle Royale. I think it would be best if they stuck with the Team Deathmatch and the big Team Deathmatch and the other modes that they're known for and just stick with it. I don't want to see...
completely agree.
I don't want to see a Halo Battle Royale at all. Mike, how do you feel about a Halo Battle Royale?
Hell no. Hell to the no.
Wolf, how about you? Halo Battle Royale.
I would not like a battle royale for Halo. Now, I could see if they did a massive, 20 on 20 versus player kind of mode, something like that. But tie it into the whole story of what's going on in Halo Infinite. We know from playing the original, the last Halo that we played, that Cortana has pretty much betrayed humanity, and now shit's hit the fan, and we're the only known force, with the Infinite ourselves fighting the fight against Cortana and all the Forerunner technology. And we're taking apparently refuge, what we can assume is one of the Halo rings. And I could see as a mode that they put in for it's a simulation training for, we have to fight, something that is on par with ourselves, which is the Forerunners or something of that. And that would be interesting for. But a Battle Royale mode itself, no, that's just, I remember when they're originally playing PUBG, PUBG and all that. Yeah, it was fun. And then, originally, Fortnite was supposed to be this kind of weird, crazy storm shit that was going on. You had to defend your place and help people. And then they got into, the Battle Royale mode, and that's the only reason why Fortnite even itself was survived and all that. And I hope that Halo doesn't do the same thing to hinder themselves that way. Now I could see if they did something
like 100v100.
Yeah, 100v100, or maybe like a large scale elimination match, like 50 on 50, or a huge war conflict map, like they have like a simulation, like, oh, here's the ring and we're gonna fight over territory for each of it, stuff like that.
Mike, do you have a follow-up?
Really, Halo just needs to stick to being Halo. I was never the best Halo player. A lot of everybody that I play with now I've met through Halo. I beat my daughter in Halo. I introduced her to that, and she learned very well that don't challenge daddy to FPSs. I'm gonna challenge myself. I do like the fact that they're doing crossplay between Xbox and PC, so that I can actually play with my brother again, and he can kick the living crap out of me and everybody else I play with, like he did back in the day. But as for a battle royale, no, they don't need to do that. They don't need to mess with that. That territory is overfluxed as it is. We don't need another battle royale. Straight up, no more. If they do a battle royale, Halo is dead to me. They almost did that with Halo 5.
All right, Venom. You got a follow-up on your point for no battle royale for Halo?
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. There's not going to be. You can't change attachments on weapons. I mean, it won't flow. It won't flow at all. It's just going to be a huge disappointment trying to play that. It makes no sense at all.
Because I couldn't imagine them trying to do attachments on some of the weapons. I know they did something similar in Halo 5 with the one mode, the Warzone mode, or whatever it was called. But you could select different variations, like, oh, here's a regular Warthog. Oh, here's the Gaul civilian, model, or here's the Oni, rocket pod, thing. That was different. You threw in a wild card here and there. Something like that. But I couldn't see them doing that for Halo. And it would be weird trying to do attachments and everything else. Unless it was like, if they did ever weapon attachments and stuff like that, it was more for your own customization for like your play style and stuff.
Right. And there was no flow.
And I just thought about this. If they want to do something that's kind of similar to a battle royale, but not. I know it's more or less there's a lot of people in the match. If you can get a good enough server that 100 people can get in, split it, it'll be 50 on 50. You have basically the bad guys, or the Covenant, or whoever you want, and then Spartan and standard military on the other. And have it like a giant battle. But if you die, you're out. There ain't no respawning. You're done. So you got to fight, basically, tactically thinking. So, I mean, I would accept something like that. It's a little bit different from a battle royale when it's actually an actual battle. So, like, if something like that came out, I'd be more cool with that. But
or even tradition. Yeah, or even like if you have your Spartan or your elite, and if, say, instead of when you die, you're out, you come back as, say, like a grunt or a jackal or maybe a regular Marine and all that, and you had to work your way back up to, say, like another Spartan or another, elite and all that. You had to gain enough points. That would be interesting. Or even if you started off as the grunt or as the regular Marine, and as you fought and you just kept going and going and going. It was almost like Horde mode in Gears of War, when you were the Horde.
One thing that is a rumor, has not been confirmed, but it's something that I think would be great as a consumer and great for them knowing the market right now. There's the rumor that the campaign will come out at a reduced cost, like $45, and that multiplayer will be free, so as that Halo can stay competitive with the other games out on the market. Because, you have games like Call of Duty that have multiplayer, but Warzone is free. You have Apex, it's free to play. PUBG, free to play. Fortnite, free to play. And that's drawing a lot of people's attention because they're free to play games. You don't have to commit anything out of your wallet to play them. So honestly, I think letting Halo Infinite come out at like $45 plus tax and letting multiplayer be free, I think that would be a really cool thing for me as a Halo fan. And I think it would be a smart idea for them financially, kind of. Like, I don't know all the ins and outs of finances for big games like this and the companies that make them, but I think that having a bunch of free-to-play games out there right now, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to either reduce the cost of the game or have multiplayer be free. What do you guys think about the potentiality of Halo multiplayer being free? Do you think it's an awesome idea for you as a consumer and a good idea for them? If not, why so?
Yeah, I mean, Halo's known for the campaign, so yeah, they're gonna have to put some money into it. 45 bucks is that sounds like a good deal for the campaign. Campaign's always been good. Uh, Multiplayer being free, that's a nice aspect. I like that idea. If that's the way they decide to go with it, I mean, I wouldn't have an issue with that at all.
Wolf, what about you, man? Campaign being 45 or whatever price, reduced price, and multiplayer being free. What do you think about it?
I think they would probably do 50, to be honest. Multiplayer, yeah, be free. And then I would see if they did some kind of mode that they would add in with the multiplayer.
Okay, Mike, what are your opinions on this rumor? Reduced price for campaign, free multiplayer. What do you think?
I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, Fortnite did it. Call of Duty's done it. And I mean, they still popular. It'd be cool if they did that, but in retrospect, I don't think they will. To be honest, it's one of those things. It's not something that they're known for. You basically pay for the whole game, and that's it.
So,
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, with the market the way it is right now, I think they will reduce the cost of the game just so they can make a profit because they're not going to be able to make a profit with the whole virus thing going on.
Yeah.
one other aspect that I want to talk about, and it's not a rumor localized to Halo, but I think it feeds into the topic that we're on with Halo right now. So there is a rumor going around, has not been really confirmed. One company has been confirmed to do it, and I believe it's the Madden games. They're saying that their next game is going to be $70 plus tax. If we see a trend where games for the next gen consoles go up to $70 plus tax, do we think that that's a good idea for the industry as a whole, considering, over time you're going to start costing more based on inflation and things like this pandemic that's going on? How do we feel about, instead of them having a reduced cost for the campaign and making multiplayer free, what if multiplayer is not free and the whole game comes out at like $78 after tax, ballparking?
I'm going to be highly pissed off, to be honest.
Mike, what do you think?
No, I'm gonna agree with that. That's kind of that's a low blow. It's kind of stupid. I mean, you already got people that have put so much money into these things already, and all of a sudden you're gonna sit there and charge them $80 for a game? No.
I mean, plus all the DLC. I mean, you're spending money on DLC too. I remember back in the day when DLC, all that shit, that was like free. You had to pay for that shit. It came with the game.
You had a few things that were like the special edition shit that you had to pay for, but that was it. Most of the stuff you can just, new item in the game? Hell yeah. Click, download.
What about you, Wolf? How would you feel if they came out and said, maybe not even the first year, but maybe year two of this new generation of consoles coming out, how would you feel if games started being about $80 after tax?
I would say that would suck, and it would be really stupid, especially with, not a lot of places now, or even video game companies. A lot of stuff is now becoming digital. There is not going to be, I can see in probably in the next, not even 5 years, there is not going to be any physical copies of any game coming out anymore, and everything is going to be straight digital. I could see that happening, and having it like that would be ridiculous. It would be, why would I pay for this ridiculous amount of price for something that is digital when it should maybe be about half or even just normal rate?
Off the piggyback topic and more focused to Halo now. So we know that Halo is going to be at the July event. That's already been confirmed. People are saying there's going to be a campaign trailer with multiplayer gameplay. And some are saying that it's going to be a multiplayer trailer and a campaign gameplay. What would each of you like to see at the Halo reveal? Would you like to see, a campaign trailer and a multiplayer gameplay, or would you like to see it the reverse? Is there something else outside of that, or more in specific in one of those two topics that you're really wanting to see above anything else?
I mean, I
Because
want to see some actual gameplay because all I've seen right now is just a trailer, cinematic.
Right. I would like to see like a campaign trailer that switches and transfers into, a little bit of gameplay. Let's play the very first mission or something, or let's have a glimpse on what is going on in the campaign, and then maybe transition to, hey, here's some of the modes, that you remember. Like here's Driftball, stuff like that, and maybe concept on with like the customization. I remember like all the different armor pieces you could put on. I could be the mismatch warrior of Doom. I have like this big old giant unicorn helmet of Doom, and then I have super ninja side shoulders or something like that. It would be cool. I want to see like what are they gonna do this time? Or am I gonna be able to customize my Spartan to how I want to, or my elite to how I want to, like they did in the other ones, or are they going to just give you a generic, here it is?
Mike, what about you, man?
I want it all.
I want it all.
I feel like I should be playing some Queen right now.
I want more information on the campaign. I want more information on multiplayer, and I want more information on the sport. So all of a sudden, all the old heads I used to play Halo with could be like, "Oh, we're gonna play Halo on Mike's mom again," which was just a giant ring that you had to make it. That was a trick track that you had to get around to get to the end, while you had one douchebag on a platform trying to snipe you or shoot rockets at you to knock you off. That was so much fun. I want that again. No more of this special ability bullshit. Just give me Halo. I want Halo back. I want Halo 2. I want Halo 3. I want something like that where it's just fun again. And it took skill to play, not the crap that we got out the last Halo game.
Last two.
Then
Right on. Okay. So here's what I'm wanting to see. And the rumor is that the campaign is going to have missions that are linear, but it's going to have an overworld that's open world. So like there's going to be points where, and this is just a rumor, I don't know if it's fact, but you're going to have like a map where there's going to be open world events that happen, like some Marines got into some trouble and you have to go and save them. And so you and these like 3-4 Marines bunker down and you fight off waves of Covenant or the Banished, like we know are going to be in the game now. And so it's basically like a little mini horde mode of a mission that you can just like stumble upon. Like you're driving by on a Warthog and these Marines flag you down and you go over and you help them. And so now you're in like a little mini horde mode. Or maybe you come across a banished outpost. So it would be something kind of like you would see out of the Assassin's Creed series. It would be like a banished fort, and you have to go in and you have to mop up these forces in the fort, and now that's like a respawn point for you in the open world element. Something like that. I want to see if the open world is true and how in depth it goes, or if it's just going to be linear like the old Halos. And that's one thing that I did like about this is somebody said that it was going to be open world, but the missions themselves were going to be linear, so that whenever you reported into a mission, it was going to play out like an old Halo game. Like you may be in like your hub at this UNSC base, and then you jump on a Pelican and it takes you to this mission and you get dropped off into a canyon and it's nighttime and you have night vision and a sniper rifle like back in the Halo Combat Evolved mission where you're trying to sneak onto the Covenant ship. So I want to see if that's true, and if it is, how in depth is it? I want to see more of the multiplayer because I liked Halo 3's customization. It wasn't obtuse and overbearing like in like Reach 4 and 5. I liked Halo 3's customization of the Spartans and the Elites. And I want to have Halo be Halo again, like Mike said, because I started having a problem with Halo's multiplayer in Reach. I did not like having like the overshield thing or whatever where your Spartan would go immobile, but you're invulnerable to damage. I didn't like the thruster packs. I mean, some of the stuff was kind of cool in a gimmicky way, but I feel like the way that they added the stuff in, starting with Reach, Halo stopped feeling like Halo. So I want to see a more pure version of Halo. I want to take it back to the Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3 multiplayer days. And seeing as how as they've said that this is supposed to be a spiritual reboot of the series, I'm hoping that that's what they're talking about. I'm hoping that they're taking out the gimmicky stuff that has been put in since Reach. So Reach 4 and 5, I'm ready for that multiplayer vibe to go away. I'm hoping that that's what they're going to do. And I hope, like Mike said, I hope that they do bring in a forge mode where you can design your own maps and your own game modes, so as that you can actually create your own fun in the game again. Because yeah, it was fun to get like 4 or 5 guys together and go in and play some multiplayer and just mop up on a team. But like there were those times when you didn't want to be like so hardcore in the multiplayer, but you wanted to play Halo, so you had like the map that he was talking about. Like you could design your own maps and game modes. So I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit of Forge. But I, for one, am really excited to see what they're going to do with Halo. That's really all the rumors and expectations I have out of it. As far as like the concrete evidence, we know that you're on a Halo ring, that Master Chief starts out in space for some reason, and you get picked up by this UNSC pilot in a Pelican, and there's a big flash of light. That's really all I know about it. That's it. I mean, I'm sure there's more concrete information out there that I haven't come across, and I'm sure somebody will let me know if I'm wrong or if there's more information to be looked at.
Yeah, I mean, what I caught in the trailer was Earth is gone. That's what I understood from that trailer. Like the humans lost the war against the Covenant.
I don't think it's that they lost the war against the Covenant. It's more or less they lost the war against Cortana. Because if you remember in the last one, Cortana, took over the Forerunner technology. She's reactivating all these facilities like the Guardians themselves, that are putting EMPs out and knocking out the technology.
Yeah, whole planets.
Yeah, and that's why the guy thinks, oh crap, Earth is gone, it was destroyed. No, you're just lost communication to it and you have no idea what's going on.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, that feeds into the Halo lore, because the Forerunners and the humans were trying to get away from another species, the Precursors, and the Forerunners had the mantle of responsibility, but it was really supposed to go to humankind. And now humankind has risen up, whereas the Forerunners are either gone or buried in shield worlds and can't get out. So now humanity has the mantle of responsibility. And Cortana comes back and she's like, well, humanity is a terrible race and they haven't done anything good with the mantle of responsibility. So now I'm taking the mantle of responsibility for AI kind. So that's one thing that I'm interested to see, because as of right now, we just know NSC is on this Halo ring, and we know that the Banished from Halo Wars 2 are going to be making an appearance, but we don't know if Cortana and the Forerunners are going to be making an appearance. I would assume they are, seeing as how you're on a Halo ring. But
well, just like you said, if they're trapped in a fucking world with like a shield world, and she's sitting there setting off EMPs, well, it's going to take down those shields on the shield worlds. So the Forerunners are going to be able to get out.
Well, see that, and that's an interesting point. But not all shield worlds are the same. From what I've collected, is some shield worlds are very much like that. They're kind of like caught in like a Dyson sphere. It's all mechanical. It's all like in the physical realm. But like in the Ghost of Onyx, the shield world that they're on in that, the shield world is actually caught in like a slipstream bubble. So like the way that the ships move faster than light and can jump around the universe, the Forerunners had a way to distill a world inside that so as that it never leaves slipstream. So it's both in and out of reality as we know it. It's hard to explain because I don't know the science that well, and I've read the book only 2 times.
Well, it's still got to have technology. It's still got to be powered by something.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work.
With EMPs going off, it's going to disable that.
Yeah.
So I imagine the Forerunners are going to make an appearance, which I honestly am looking forward to, because I'm not into the books like you are, Shag. So I want to see more of the story,
Right.
And then there's also, what's going on with the Ark. If any of you played, Halo Wars 2, they were, on the out fringes of the galaxy of itself, and there's that huge massive Ark world that it was apparently like another last ditch hope to help save all life itself for against the flood. they had multiple contingencies. They send one of the UNSC people that have been lost on the I forget what it's called, the ship's name, but they
Pillar of
sent
Autumn, Pillar of Fire, Spirit of Fire, something like that. I can't remember it either.
it was one. I think it was the Pillar of Fire or something like that. But nevertheless,
The original ship from the first Halo.
No, Halo Wars from the Halo Wars series is what he's talking about.
and all that, and the one scientist woman gets back to humanity itself, and
Yeah,
she's
it was
like,
the Spirit of Fire.
yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, and she gets back to like say Earth or anywhere she can get actual information on what's going on, and she's like, "Oh no, this isn't good," and then it cuts out. That was the end of the game,
Right. Mike, you care to weigh in on any of this?
I like turtles and Spartans.
I like turtles and Spartans. Man, I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt for you.
I would actually, honestly, another topic on this game, I would like to see, because there's supposedly other Spartans out in the universe. I want to see them come make a play in this game.
Yeah.
See how you were actually talking about like the whole open world scheme. Like, what if they kind of did something like what Bungie did with Destiny, but instead of Guardians, it's you're a Spartan. You're creating your own Spartan. You don't go and do the whole loot and grind bullshit that you do, but it's a story, and you can. It's like an RPG. You can level up your Spartan. You can have more of a heavier class, a quicker recon class, like with the scout armor or the recon armor and shit. Because everybody would have that. I would have that. I love the recon armor. But that'd be a cool idea, like a Halo RPG. Whoever, what is it, 343 that does it now?
Yep.
Let's do it. Sign me on. I'll write the script. It's gonna be shitty, but we'll work with it.
Well, this is one thing that I like from the last two inputs, and I'm going to touch on Mike's first. So one of the things that I always wanted in Halo 3 is like whenever they make the next Halo, I want the armor decisions for my cosmetics to have a choice. If I'm on recon, I want like the active camo to last longer. If I'm wearing EOD armor, I want to take less damage from grenades and rockets. It would give you a reason to choose your cosmetics other than just the way they look. So I always thought that would be a really good idea. And if they implemented that, that would be an interesting layer. And it would give you a reason to get rid of the old abilities like the armor lock and the jetpack and things like that. It would give you direct impact for the way you've built your Spartan. And I like Jesse's thought here as well because, I'm sorry, I know there's two Jessies in here. I like Venom's thought because he said that in the lore, there are other Spartans out there. So we know there's other Spartan 3s. In the books, there was Blue Team, that we know of. So Blue Team's reunited. There was a couple other Spartan 3s here and there, and I'm not going to list the individuals. But another one that's kind of got my interest piqued is Gray Team. Because Gray Team, they were said to be rogues even in training. They did not get along with the idea of authority. They were going to do what they wanted to do. So whenever they graduated and got their Milner armor, they were thrown across enemy lines. And they were told, here's what you do. Your whole mission is just fuck up their supply lines and their communication lines. Do what you do. Let us know if you need help. They were just basically, hey, you do what you do. Go on over there. Let us know what's going on. So if Gray Team showed back up and they're like, hey, what's up, bitches? That would be kind of cool to see Gray Team come back or some of the other individuals or other teams come back into play. And then we have the Spartan 4s that we started seeing in Halo 4. They're basically the mass-produced Spartans now. And if you look at it, they're cheaper to make. You have a wider pool of people that you can turn into Spartans, but they're not as efficient as the Spartan 3s. They don't pack the same punch. So I think having multiple generations and teams of Spartans play an impact in the story would be really, really cool. But I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know what narrative they're going to go with, but that would be something I would thoroughly enjoy to see in the story.
Right, I could see like the Spartan, the great team as you call it. What was it? Great Team.
Yeah, Great Team.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Like you have like them. They're piloting a freaking Covenant ship, and it's got like scars all over it and stuff, and it's like been super patched up over time. They've reclaimed armor, and you see them coming out of the ship with their their Mark II or Mark III Mjolnir armor, and it is beat to hell, and they've put different plates and everything on it. It would be really cool to see something like that. where they come in like that. And that, yeah, and there are still some other Spartans that we don't know what's going on. You know, we still got, you know, original Blue Team with, you know, Master Chief, his crew, and all that. And then even though in the book it did say a fair amount of the Spartan 3s did die on Reach, you know, but we still have to think of all the other ones that were still available, and there were still even more trainees being made when Reach was being attacked. So we could see younger versions of the Spartan 3s, maybe in different type of squads or anything. Who knows?
Well, I guess that will bring an end to this issue of Roundtable. We greatly appreciate everybody stopping by the channel. Thank you again. Have a good day.